the intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey, you, come here real quick. I want you to know something that I mean from the bottom of my heart on this channel, and I'm saying it with my chest. You're better at this game than you think you are. Too often there are people who believe I can't do this, it's too high level, it's too difficult, etc. And that's simply not the case. Knowledge will help you do things in this game that you did not think possible. And today we're going to talk about this right behind me to give that as an example. The level 45 Eclipse Armada. So many people feel like they can't do it. In fact, I happen to pull up there's a random Kumari. I don't know what they're doing, but they've launched a 45. But you can beat these. And when I say you can beat them, I mean you can beat them. Yes, you feel like I can only do the 40s, our alliance gets stomped. I'm gonna talk to you about crews and how you can go and take these down. Now, why would you want to? Simple answer is the loot. 12.4 in terms of uncommon versus 8.8 for the regular epics. If I go find a 40 real quick, I'm sure there's one laying around since we have these new systems. Possibly there's another 45. We got a bunch of the 45s. You see, some people are so scared to do 45. Shout out to Hal, who's actually running them. And what they're doing is a trick a lot of y'all have done, which is simply bring a massive ship to carry. But I'm going to show you how to do it with all stellas. Now, real quick, couple of prerequisites. One, max out your stellas. You're going to want tier 9s, minimum tier 8s here. And you're also probably going to want a minimum score of at least, I would say 100 in your M score. But it's going to vary based on several different things. Here's a 40 right here. We got a little baby 40 right there. And you see rewards, not that much, difference. Truthfully, there's not a ton more rewards in the 45s, but there's still that bragging rights of we can take it down. So let's talk about why 45s are so strong and the tactics that we need to actually defeat them as a player and the crews that we're going to use. And I'll even show you a log of an alliance doing that as soon as I can find another 45 to scam. So what makes these 45s so ridiculously difficult is not necessarily how hard they punch, which they do have pretty good DPR, 7.62 million. It's the whole health. They have a ton of it, and it takes a long time to tear it down. 350 million shields, 500 million whole health. That is why they are so tough, and why people end up bringing 5-star ships to fight them instead of using their stellas. But the benefit of the stella is if everybody's using stellas, you're all getting those loot bonuses the stella provides, etc. And you're not having a fight over the loot distribution, because if you remember, we did a video on this. Loot distribution is determined by the power of your ship. So if you bring in a Sanctus and he has 300 million power and y'all are all sitting at 1.5, you're going to get no loot. And then the only loot you're fighting for is the chest you get for launching. So let's talk crews real quick. Basic crew is this right here. Now, there are a couple of versions I'm going to show you this, but this is one of the basics. In fact, I'm going to actually take this off real quick and you'll see why in just a second. But Beverly, Ash Tyler, and Khan. Now, yes, as you can see, you're going to continue with the Rev Deuce strategy of somebody's going to be playing support ship. And if you're running a 6-man Armada, which means that you're a level 39 ACC, that means you're going to have one ship at least running support. But let's go over why this works. I'll show you a log to prove it to you, don't worry. So we got Beverly Crusher, who is going to restore shield health. This is important for survivability purposes. Also giving you a mitigation boost. This one not really as needed, but does help out. Over here, we got Ash Tyler, which when the opponent is burning, increases damage of the ship based on attack, and this is a cumulative thing. And this actually really works well on a lower tiered ship like a Stella. Ash Tyler, not really as big of a deal if you were to put him on a Vorcha, like in the level in the 50s. But down here, this is actually very valuable. And then of course, the tried, the trusty, the Khan, criticals. We want criticals. Why? Remember, criticals are a multiplier. For me, 2.6. So whatever damage I create, bam, there's a 2.6 multiplier on top of that. I talked about using support. Here's the support version. Now keep in mind, just for viewing purposes, I use Next Gen Beverly here. Never use Next Gen Beverly in your Eclipse Armada. Just so that you can easily see it, I put Beverly there. This is rare Beverly. Ignore. There's going to be at least one. I swear, I know there will be. If it happens, Big Rev Face, send me a video of it and I'll shame them. Don't you put that silly little regular Bev in your Armada. And just doing this for visual purposes. Anyway, that face was way too big. Very scary. Very ginger. All right. So Nero to create burning, or you can use Giorgio. That's critical for your Ash Tyler part of it. And then Lorca for Hull Breach, making that critical build even stronger. Now you can split this up to where you can have Beverly Crusher, Ash Tyler, Nero, and then the other ships out there would run, Beverly Crusher, Ash Tyler, and then Lorca. You could split it up. But I do like multiple critical builds. And then finally, because maybe you're out there saying, hey, I don't have the Beverly Crusher and stuff like that. Well, you can also come over here and use the original Mud crew. Yes, the old school crew, the ones, they still exist. I'm gonna put Cisco here real quick to remind you, persistence is key. Critical hit versus Armadas. We love, love, love critical builds. Now this loadout is because Sesha is going to try to reduce that critical hit chance. We just talked about how strong those 45 Eclipse Armadas are. They can punch really stinking hard. If they've blown you up, let me know in chat. Have they blown you up before? If you've gotten blown by 45 Eclipse Armada, comment down below. So this is trying to reduce that crit hit chance. You could also use something like a Deanna Troi in this instance, but let's keep in mind we're talking tactics, specific officers you can work around. Now, I also have Mud here, which is basically the same idea that we were doing with Ash Tyler, except now we're using Mud to boost the damage every time the ship loses shields. Normally, a ship would only lose their shields once, but with Beverly or Eurydice, or Eurydice, however you will pronounce them. Eurydice is correct, but I don't care. I like Eurydice. Bam! Recharge those shields. And then it becomes a pattern. So shield recharge, die, Mud. Shield recharge, die, Mud. And it just keeps doing it to itself over and over again. There's value in that. But you see a theme here, whether it's Ash Tyler, whether it's Mud, you're trying to build damage every round and then combining that with criticals. So if we wanted to do that, we could do something like this and have the same type of idea and have somebody else run the anti-critical build. But if you're just trying to find a generic, everybody runs these crews, everybody just go out and do this, well, let me give you a visual example. So for those that don't know, this wasn't the planned video today. Scopely was actually supposed to put out a message in Ray, the new Armadas that just dropped, and actually a poll where they're doing player feedback. But because they took too long, we're doing this instead because it's Apex Thursdays and this matters. So let's take a look at this one. Shout out to Sandra and their crew for running this and sending me the log so we can give you a visual. And then remember, what I'm showing you is not the end all be all. These are not the only crews you can run. What I'm trying to teach you is the methods, why the methods work, how they work, and then you copy those based on what's best for you. If your Mud Eurydice is your best combo and you've got like a tier 1 con, well, let's do that. We want to have criticals. We want to have damage building. Shield regen's really nice. And you see all these things we're doing here. Now, this crew, you see we're running a large Armada here, and we've got Beverly Crusher as captain on every boat. Now, these individuals ran a 7-person one. You can do this with 6. I promise. I've seen it happen plenty of times. 6-man Armadas can definitely take down a 45. You do not even have to carry a big to do it. You can use all stellas. But to show you a 7 doing it, and just to be clear, they did pretty damn well. So you see the damage they took, how much they lost per round, the damage details in general. They did a pretty daggum good job. They survived. In fact, they went 9 rounds. All of them. None of them died. So if that's what you're worried about, don't worry about it. It wasn't like that 7th ship made this work. 6 can pull this off, but they're using the same basic principles I'm talking about. Cisco, Con for criticals. Only need 1 Hull Breach Creator in Gorkon. Remember, Hull Breach and Burning affects the target, meaning if you have 1 character for all of your players who launch Burning or Hull Breach, every other boat can use it. So because they had 1 Nero, every other Stella that had Ash Tyler, bam, is now getting that boost every single round with Ash Tyler procs. Because they had 1 Gorkon, everybody that had Con and Cisco are now getting bonuses to their critical damage and bonuses to their damage because of Hull Breach. So when you run that support, remember, you only need one of each. You don't need everybody to bring Nero. You don't need everybody to bring Lorca. All you need is one individual instance of each. You see Gorkon triggered 16 times. Bam, bam, keep running it. Boost that damage. So what you want to focus on if you're watching this video, if you are a player and you're saying, hey, I want my alliance to start running these, but we don't want to have to rely on a big to come through. And by the way, how? I'm not trying to take shots at y'all. Y'all are just a literal example. So if y'all want to do me a huge favor, like the video in honor of how, because they happen to be who's here. So if you're wanting to take part in these, but you don't want to sacrifice the loot distribution, which is what you'll do with the big, this is how you take it. You want to have your Stella at tier 9, and you probably want to have at least a minimum of M score 100. Better is better. So the higher you get it, the better you perform. But it really comes down to the officers and the strategy. And when you look at how these things punch, how tough they can be, the big thing is that they hit hard, but they have a ton of stats. But we want to take away those stats. We want to find a way to grow in damage. And how do we do that? Exactly how we show you in this graph. This is a great example of the damage creation and damage growth arc that you're getting running Ash Tyler and critical builds, or running Mud and Eurydice and combining that. And you can do this with multiple different types. When you have 6 ships, which you really end up wanting to do, in my personal opinion, if you have a 6-man armada, what you're going to do is you're going to take one boat, one loadout, everybody copies this. So if, for example, you want to do this one, 5 people with this, 5 of them run this, and then one support boat. Bam, finito. And you can, if your alliance is struggling, say, hey, we ran that, we still died. That critical got us, because the criticals can hurt a lot on the 45s if the RNG plays them. Here's what you do. 6-man, 6. So now we're going to do 2 supports. First support, this one right here. We want to have something that's anti-critical, like this right here, always on guard. Cool. We just ran an anti-critical, and here we go. There's our burning. There's our hull breach. Now we got 2 support ships, so we still have 4 ships that are completely focused on damage. And if you follow this pattern, I promise you, you can do better in this game than you thought you did. So many of y'all believe that you have to do the low-level Eclipse. Like, we're not strong enough. We can't make it happen. The reason you can't make it happen is because it's the year 2023 and you're still using Kirk Spock Con. You don't need to use Kirk Spock Con. You can grow out of that to where you don't have to sit here, come to Midge and Lindstrom and run these, hey, Rev, why won't they add more 37s in the game? Because you don't need them. You can do the 40s and you can do the 45s. Follow these strategies, teach them to your alliance, and if you enjoyed the video, live long and prosper. Stay safe, other space cowboys. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I enjoy doing these types. So join the Discord if you haven't already. Link is in the description of this video. If you have questions specifically about it, of course, all you gotta do, if you wanted to join the Discord, you can, but you can also comment in our comment section down below. Why is it not working? Oh, there it is. Comment down below. I edited that in. So my lame sense of humor is very lame. And last but not least, if you want to support the channel, check out our merch store or sign up. Remember, we are doing monthly movie night. If you want to be part of that, you got to be signed up on our website as a member supporting the channel. All of y'all are appreciated. Hope you have an amazing day. Catch you on the next one. And I'm finally shutting up now.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.